Live lesson, we're going to talk about how to invite someone to something. Today, I'm going to talk about expressions you can use for casual invitations, like with your friends and your coworkers. And I'm also going to talk about some expressions you can use to ask someone on a date and make it clear you are asking them on a date. So today we're going to talk about invitation phrases, ways to check their schedule, and also how to accept, reject, and reschedule plans. So I hope this is very helpful both for, of course, your friendship situations and for romantic situations. So as you join, please make sure to hit the like button and share this video so other people can find today's lesson. While we wait for other people to join, and while you send your hello messages in the chats, I'll come in just a moment, I want to make sure you know about this banner at the bottom of the screen which says download your free 2,000-word ebook. The team has created a free PDF ebook with the 2,000 core words of English. These are the 2,000 most commonly used words in everyday communication, and this is 100% free. There's no charge. So you can download this from EnglishClass101.com. Go to the link below the video if you're watching on YouTube or above the video if you're watching on Facebook. You need your name and an email address to download this. This can be a great vocabulary study tool. So if you want to study the most important words first, you can go and get this for free right now. Check it out. Okay, I think everything is rolling just fine. I see some people are joining in the YouTube chat. Hello, Jacob, Minnow, Valon, Labet, Natalie, Victor, Goldie. Hi, everybody. Facebook is just now loading. Welcome everybody on Facebook. Let's get into today's topic. Today we're going to talk about inviting someone to something. So I hope you have some idea in mind for the next thing you might ask someone to go to. It could be a birthday party, a date, a work event. It could be a party, whatever. So let's begin with suggesting plans. Let's start here and talk about the basic patterns for suggesting plans. First, the most basic one you can use for all situations, all casual situations, is do you want to infinitive verb. Do you want to infinitive verb? So at the end here, we have to plus the basic verb form. So to go or to eat or to play, right? No change to the verb. Do you want to blank, okay? So let's take a look at some examples and we'll break down the grammar. And you can send your example invitations in the chat. I will try to check them live, okay? First one, do you want to get a drink? Do you want to get a drink? Here we have the do you want to, and our infinitive verb is get. Do you want to get a drink? This is a very common question to use after work, and sometimes this is used as a very soft way to ask someone on a date also. So maybe you can see I've marked some things on the board today with a heart. Some of these expressions can be used as soft ways to invite someone on a date. It depends on how you ask the person. If you say to someone maybe you don't know very well, after talking to them for a short time, you might ask them, hey, do you want to get a drink sometime? That sounds like it's kind of a date. So this is one expression you can use to like softly, but not very directly ask someone on a date. So this one, if someone asks you this and you don't know them well, it might be a date request, just for your information. Okay, let's take a look at the second one. The second one, do you want to study together? Do you want to study together? Here our verb is study, our base infinitive verb. Do you want to study together? This could be something from your classmate, right? Or maybe it's someone at your work and you are doing a research project together. Do you want to study together? Okay, so we can put the base verb after this do you want to, right? I also want to talk about a pronunciation point here. So do you want to sounds kind of stiff, right? It's not very natural. We connect all of these words together. So not do you want to, but do you wanna? Do you wanna get a drink? Do you wanna study together? So all of these connect to one another? Do you wanna? Do you wanna? So try to use that pronunciation to sound more natural. Do you wanna study together? Do you wanna get a drink sometime? Do you wanna get a coffee? So you can use these to invite someone. I would recommend if you want to invite someone to a meal or for a coffee or a drink, use this get. Do you want to get lunch? Do you want to get dinner? Do you want to get a coffee? That one sounds very, very natural. I'll talk about a couple of other expressions for meals in just a second, okay? I don't see any examples in the chat yet. If you want to practice this, make sure you send your example in the chat. I will try to check it live. For now, let's continue to the next group. The next one is the very, very, very simple form you can use with someone you know well. So, for example, a friend, a close friend, or a family member, or your partner maybe. Any very casual invitation can follow this pattern. It's let's plus the bare infinitive verb. So notice here I said bare infinitive. So in this pattern, we use to plus the infinitive, right? So to infinitive, the dictionary form. Here, notice there is no to in this pattern, okay? Just the verb, yeah? So let's take a look at this expression, this pattern. Let's have lunch. Let's have lunch. This is a very casual way to say, do you want to get lunch? So do you want to get lunch is 100% correct, and let's have lunch is also 100% correct. The difference is in how close you sound to the other person. Here is my bare infinitive verb. Let's have lunch. It sounds like you're talking with the person, you're excited to see them, or it's your coworker, you're excited to talk with them more. Let's have lunch. It's a very casual invitation, okay? Another example, let's talk about the project. Let's talk about the project. Here, our bare infinitive is talk. Let's talk about the project. So you could use this at work, maybe with your teammates. The feeling with let's is that it's more casual and more close. Someone you are close to, you might use this pattern with. You can use do you want to with someone you are close to, but it sounds like more of a request, right? This one, let's, is like, oh, you have a feeling they also want to do the same thing, or you feel like they also want to join you somehow, okay? That's the feeling, that's the difference here. All right, let's continue. Any examples? I see one, Natalie wrote, let's dine out tonight. Let's dine out tonight. Another way to say that is let's get dinner out tonight, or let's have dinner at a restaurant tonight. So there are a few different ways to say that. Nice one. Okay, let's continue to the third group here. The third group I have marked with lots of hearts because these are expressions we use for dates to make it very, very clear you want to ask someone on a date. So let's look at how we know it's a date request, okay? First, we have this can I at the beginning. Can I? So this person is politely asking for permission, okay? That's hint number one. Hint number two, take you. Can I take you? This person is asking for permission to do something for you, to take you usually to a location, okay? So these are like two big hints, right? This you is a big hint that it's a date also. Can I take you? And then here are a couple of examples for how we might finish this date request. Can I take you out for dinner? Can I take you out for dinner? This is a very clear date request unless it's in a work situation that is very, very clearly saying thank you. There might be a situation where your boss says to you or your team, can I take you out for dinner to show my appreciation for your work? That's maybe the only case I can think of. Or maybe it's parents that are trying to show their appreciation to their kid. But in one-on-one situations, this usually means it is a date, okay? So, can I take you out for dinner? This out part means out to a restaurant or out to a cafe or a bistro, whatever, okay? So out is another key word. So this sentence is saying, please give me permission, or may I have permission to take you to a restaurant and enjoy a meal with you, okay? A very clear date request. Okay, let's look at another one. Can I take you on a date? Can I take you on a date? Notice the preposition here. Can I take you on a date? You will use the word on in this pattern. You might also hear, can I take you out on a date? So please notice this out here, I mentioned, means I want to go out in the town or out in the city with you. I want to go somewhere public with you on a special evening or a special occasion. So these are date phrases. These are two definitely very, very common date phrases. Not the only ones, but very common. Okay, let me look at your questions quickly. Labette wrote, is it possible to say get a glass of something like beer or whiskey? Yes, absolutely. You can say, for example, do you want to get a glass of whiskey with me, or do you want to get a beer with me? 100%, very natural. You can use this pattern too. Let's get a beer together. Yeah, I would say we usually don't say get a glass of something with an invitation like this, because usually we understand like how it is served. So usually we say, let's get a beer, or let's have some drinks together, or do you want to get a beer with me? So you can use that as well. You can be specific about what you want to drink, yeah, as well. Okay, thanks for your question, that's a good one. Mina wrote, can I take you to that new store? Okay, so is that a date request? It could be a date request. Can I take you to that new store? So that might be a date request if you know that person wants to go to that store. If it's a new restaurant, you might ask, for example, can I take you on a date? There's a new restaurant that caught my eye. That sounds really good. That sounds like a really, really good date request. Okay, on Facebook, Rosa wrote, do you want to watch movies? Nice one. Okay, do you want to watch movies? That's a great invitation for something. Okay, Fever wrote, do you want to help me? Are you inviting someone to do something, or are you asking for help? If you are asking for help, just say, can you help me? Or please help me. Today we are practicing an invitation pattern, okay? Okay, good. I don't see other questions. So now that we have some ways to suggest the plans and make it clear it's a date, or make a soft date request, we're going to talk about how to ask for someone's schedule very nicely in part 2. Okay, so quickly, I want to remind you, we'll take a quick break to remind you about this banner down here that says, download your free 2,000 words ebook. The team has this free ebook for you if you want to study the most important vocabulary words in English first. Go download this ebook. It is 100% free at EnglishClass101.com. Check the link below the video if you're watching on YouTube, or up here or to the side if you're watching on Facebook. Make the video small and you can find the link. If you have an account, great. You can download this after you log in. If you do not have an account, no problem. You can make a free account. Just use your name and your email address to make your account, and then go back to this page to download that for free. You can practice the most important words first. We love it. Okay, I'll remind you again later too. So let's go back now to part 2, checking their schedule. Next, very, very important, okay? So also, if you haven't, please make sure to hit the like button, yeah? And share this video so other people can find today's lesson. Okay, now let's talk about checking their schedule. How do we politely ask someone else's schedule? Here is a basic pattern you can use for all the situations we talked about here. Do you have time on day? Do you have time on day? For example, do you have time on Tuesday? Do you have time on Sunday? So you can use this just to start with a day. Fine to begin with. Later you can choose a time, okay? We'll talk about that in just a moment. I want to also talk about pronunciation here. So not do you have time on day, or do you have time on Tuesday? Again, we like to connect. It sounds good to connect. Do you have time? So this do you have sounds like do you have? Do you have? Do you have time on? Do Do you have time on Tuesday? Because the thing we want to focus on is the day, right? We want to ask about the day, right? So if we just connect these together at the beginning, it sounds more natural. Do you have time on Tuesday? Do you have time on Sunday? That sounds much more natural. Okay, now let's talk about the pattern, are you free? Are you free? This, it starts with are, right? So this is a hint. This is a yes or no question, yeah? Right? So, are you free? This free means no plans, no plans. It does not mean no money. It doesn't cost money. Free means no plans. I have no plans. I am open. I am available, yeah? We can finish this pattern with a few different endings. If we want to use a day, we finish with on day, like we did here. Are you free on Sunday? Are you free on Tuesday? Are you free on Wednesday? So that will give you a day to check in. Are you free at time? Are you free at time? Please notice the prepositions, those small words, are different here. Are you free on day? Are you free at time? Are you free at 7? Are you free at 6? Are you free at 3? So use at when you want to ask about a time, okay? If you want to be specific with something like tomorrow, you can say, are you free tomorrow afternoon? Are you free tomorrow afternoon? Or are you free tomorrow evening? Is also okay. Or are you free sometime next week? Are you free sometime next week? The reason you might use sometime next week is to show that maybe from your point of view, maybe this week is busy. I have no time this week, so I will suggest next week, yeah? So I want to know about your schedule for next week. Are you free sometime next week? Notice not sometimes, sometime next week, okay? Also, you can combine these two, day at time. Are you free on Sunday at 7 p.m.? Great. That's a very specific way to ask someone's schedule, okay? Let's see, let's take a look at the last one here, and then I see your messages in the chat. I'll come to check the chat in just a moment. So, the last one, does day at time work for you? Does day at time work for you? So, again, this does, it starts with does, this shows us, this is a yes or no question. Does Sunday at 3 work for you? Please note this work, yeah? This work means, is it okay? So for something to work in this sense, like in a schedule situation, if something works, that means we can do that. It is possible to do that. This is another way that we use the verb to work. It means to use something as expected. Of course, it means to go to your job and do your job, but it also means that something is okay, to be okay in your schedule, yeah? So, does Sunday at 3 work for? Work for you. You might also hear people drop this part. Does Sunday at 3 work? Does Sunday at 3 work okay? Also is something you might hear. But work is a very common word used to ask about schedules. Let's look at one more example. Does Tuesday at 6 work for you? Does Tuesday at 6 work for you? So again, we are asking, is that time okay for you? That's a very natural and casual way to ask that question. Okay, let me take a look at the chat. I saw one before. Natalie wrote, are you available on Sunday? Yeah, so Natalie has a good one. Are you free? Okay, I put free here. If you want to make it more polite, you can write available. So they are both correct. Available sounds more polite. It sounds like something you use with someone you don't know very well or you're not very close to. So me, I do not use available with my friends, but if I want to make a work appointment, if I want to do something at my job, I might use available if I'm not very close to the person or if I feel very polite. So that's the difference between available and free in this situation. Okay. Others, I think there were a couple, sorry, I think that there were a couple down below. Alex wrote, does Tuesday work for you? Nice one. So you can just drop the time as well. Does Tuesday work for you is also okay. Minnow wrote, are you free on the 14th at 6 p.m.? Great. Yes, you can also choose a date in this pattern. So I will also write this here. You can use a date. Does date like the 14th or the 15th work for you? Great one. Okay. And on Facebook, Rosa wrote, are you free on Saturday? Perfect. Nice job, everybody. Okay, let's continue then to the last group. And then I will remind you again about the free things that you can get from the link below the video. Let's finish today by talking about accepting, rejecting, and rescheduling those invitations, okay? Also, I want to talk about date-related expressions and how to show you are excited for something, okay? So first, let's talk about accepting. So accepting the invitation means saying yes, you want to do the thing, okay? So you can say, sounds great, that sounds great, or sounds good. You can choose any positive adjective here. Sounds great, sounds cool, sounds awesome, sounds fantastic, sounds good, okay? So use something there to show you are excited, you like the idea. Usually I use this. Sure, sounds great, okay? Next. Okay, that's also very easy to use. I recommend this with your friends. If your friends, someone in the chat wrote earlier, like, do you want to watch movies? Like, okay. Then you can ask, what time is good for you? Or are you free on Saturday? Yeah? So, okay is also a very casual way to accept something. For someone who wrote earlier, like, do you want to get a beer? Okay, after work, great way to accept that. Very casual and very friendly. All right, next one, I marked with a heart because these ones you can use when you accept a date to show you are excited. They are, I'd love to, and I'd love that. I'd love to, and I'd love that. I also want to note, you can use these two expressions in casual situations. You can use them with your friends also, just to show you're very excited, you really, really like the idea. That's okay. But when you accept a date, these expressions can show you are very, very excited and you are very happy about the date. But let's talk about the differences here. I'd love to and I'd love that. What's the difference here? So notice there's this to. This sounds like there's an action missing. So I'd love to, verb is the idea here. For example, someone asks you, let's see, do you want to go on a date with me? Let's use this pattern. Do you want to get a drink with me? So we use this pattern that uses the verb, right? Here, they can say, I'd love to. So we use the to because there was a verb suggested here. I'd love to get a drink with you. I'd love to go on a date with you. This to is connecting to the verb in the request. That's what's happening here. So this pattern, can I take you out for dinner? There's no like verb to do together here, right? In this pattern, the person is requesting, like they want to be in charge, right? I want to take you, right? So you don't have to do anything, please just come, is the idea here. So in this sentence, in this request, there's no action to do together. So if you say, I'd love to, it sounds a little strange. In that situation, use I'd love that. I'd love that. So in this situation, you just come to the date, that's all, right? So for these kinds of requests, say, I'd love that. Someone is going to do something for you, yeah? So you can use this pattern in other parts of your life as well. Someone offers to do something for you, you can say, I'd love that. That's so great. If someone invites you to do something together, there's an action to do together, use I'd love to. That's the difference between these, okay? Let's continue then to rejecting. So rejecting means saying no. How do you say no? politely? How do you say no clearly also, right? First one, very common. Sorry, I can't. I have plans. Sorry, I can't. I have plans. This one is great. This one is so helpful because you don't have to say your plans, right? Just say, I have plans, and you don't need to tell the other person what your plans are. That's fine. That's totally fine. 100% okay. I recommend this sorry because it shows, oh, I feel bad, right? If someone says, this, I can't, I have plans, it sounds either very close and very casual, or like they don't really feel very bad about saying no, okay? So sorry, I can't, I have plans. Or just, I have plans is also okay to do. But I think using sorry shows you feel bad, okay? The next one, how do you express that something is not for you, right? This is thanks, but it's not really my thing. Thanks, but it's not really my thing. Let's say, for example, let's say I invite you. I say, hey, come to a club party with me. It starts at midnight, something like that. And maybe you are like, I don't like going to clubs, but I feel bad. You can use this. Thanks means thank you for the invitation, but it's not really my thing. That means thank you, I am happy you invited me, but I am not interested in that activity. So that's a good way to show you appreciate it, but you don't want to do that thing. And that's okay. Thanks, but it's not really my thing. Yeah? So you can use that if someone asks you to go to something that's just you're not so interested in, but you want to maintain, you want to keep a good relationship. Okay. Let's see, I'm looking at the examples in the chat. Mino wrote, sorry, but going fishing in winter is beyond me. Okay, interesting. So beyond me, we usually use for things that are past our understanding or that are difficult for us to understand. I would say, sorry, but going fishing in winter is too much for me. Or it's going fishing in winter sounds too cold for me. So something, when I use the expression that something is beyond me, it sounds like something is just, it's more than I can understand, or that's a different topic, different from my specialty, or different from my expertise. So we would use it in an expression like, why she made that decision is beyond me. In other words, I can't understand that person's decision. So maybe use something more specific there. Sorry, but going fishing in winter is just too cold for me. Or sorry, but going and fishing in winter is just not for me. I would recommend something like that. Okay, Natalie wrote, sorry, I don't think I have time on Sunday. Nice one, that's a good one. Others, Rosa on Facebook wrote, sorry, I can't go to the party. Nice, okay, good ways to reject. Let's finish then. Oh my gosh, I'm late. Let's finish with rescheduling. I have just one pattern to talk about for rescheduling because it's easy to do. You can use, I already have plans. How about day at time instead? I hope you can see this. Instead. Instead means in place of your time. So, I already have plans. How about day at time instead? This instead is great because it shows I'm giving you a different option. So how does this conversation happen? Ooh, let's look. So for example, does Sunday at 3 work for you? Sorry, I can't. I have plans. How about Tuesday at 6 instead? So this is a great way to reject and say, I still want to do the thing. Can I suggest a different time? Great skill to have at work, in your social life, and in your romantic life. Okay? All right, that's all I want to talk about today. We got through it, yay! Let's see, Salman on YouTube wrote, can we go out tonight? Yeah, okay, can we go out tonight? That sounds like, can we maybe go out for a drink, or can we go out for dinner? It sounds kind of open, but can we go out is another good invitation phrase to use. Okay, I will move. If you want to take a screenshot of today's content, now is your chance. Gorgeous, great. Okay, good. So today we talked about how to invite someone to something, and we also talked about ways that you can ask someone on a date and accept a date as well. And we talked about how to use these casually as well as in work situations too. So I hope this helped you to get a little bit more clear on the differences between some of these patterns and how you can use them very naturally, as well as a few pronunciation points. Yeah? So that will be everything for this week. But next week, of course, I will be back. Next week will be same time, same channel, of course, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is New York City time. If you don't know your local time, please Google it, or you can set a notification on Facebook or on YouTube so you get a beautiful pop-up when we start the live stream. Next week's lesson topic, I forgot it, so let me check my plans. Next week, yes, I'm going to do a lesson next week about how to talk about something you read or learned recently. So when you listen to podcasts or watch the news or read articles online and you learn something, how do you express that? How do you discuss that? That's a really important topic or a really important skill to be able to do. So please join me next week to practice describing those things that you learned about recently. That's a really, really good conversation skill. So I'm looking forward to that. Okay, so that is it for today. Of course, don't forget to get your free PDF book that you can find from the link below the video if you're watching on YouTube, or above the video if you're watching on Facebook. This is free. It is the 2,000 most commonly used words in everyday communication in English, the most important words to study first. So go and get this free PDF ebook. You just need your name and an email address. So grab it and get started with some good vocabulary studies. Okay, so thank you so much to everybody who joined me live and sent your great comments and questions. Thank you so much for liking this video and sharing this video. I hope you have a great day and a great week and a great weekend, and I will see you again next time. Bye!